Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome back to our meditation with Chashi Skobac. I look forward to this class all the time. For me, it's really helped me in my peaceful the time it takes me to get to sleep at night. I'll tell you, just breathing and focusing, it just helps for personal well-being, and more than that, personal peace. Just a joy to spend time with Mrs. Skobac, and so I appreciate her. And she was just having a little bit of technical difficulty, but I believe I have caught her okay now. And so, on that note, let's just jump right in and say hello. Shalom, Chashi. So good to be with you. You're now live on the air. I'm going to turn the class over to you, and I'm here if you need support. Okay.
Thank you, Dan. Hi,
Blessings.
everybody. It's nice to see everybody. Oh, Dan, the last month's class, a picture just came up. And it's not from me though. The picture of the sukkah. Did you see that, Dan?
Yeah, I just took it down.
Okay. Okay, so hi everybody. And so we're going to do a new meditation this week. And I hope you're all ready for some meditation. You're all nice and relaxed. And I'm just going to get my notes up. Okay. So this week, we're going to start with a prayer that was for a very long time not a very well known prayer. It was called the Prayer of Jabez. And Jabez was a man that was written about in the First Chronicles. And it's a very short prayer. And he was a descendant of Yehuda, which was one of the 12 tribes. Yehuda was one of the 12 sons of Jacob. And after many generations, Yabez was born. He was considered a righteous individual. That was written about him. He was supposed to be more righteous than his brothers. And he had a short prayer that was very little known until about the beginning of the 2000s, this millennia. Somebody wrote a book about it, and it became very popular, and many people were into this prayer. Jews, non-Jews, many people were into it. So I'm going to use this prayer as a vehicle to start off what we're going to talk about and then get into our meditation. So his name is Yabez, and he cried out to God, and he said, oh, he cried out to the God of Israel, and he said, oh, that you would bless me and enlarge, expand my borders. Let your hand be with me, keep me from harm, so that I will be free from pain. And God granted his request. So the line that intrigues me of this short prayer is, what does Yabez really mean when he says, expand my borders? Sometimes the Hebrew is translated where it says, enlarge my territory. So different commentaries say different things on the meaning of that line, what Yabez really has in mind when he's asking God to expand his borders or enlarge his territories. Some of the commentators say it means physical borders, like give me more land, give me more territory. And others say, no, really, he's saying, give me more spiritual influence in the world, or give me more spiritual power. So there's a different angles on what that line can mean. So I thought that one way of exploring what it means to expand your borders can be looking at one of the prayers that is in the Jewish prayer book, one of the most important prayers that by observant Jews, it's said 3 times a day. And part of that prayer, many parts of that prayer describe God. And one of the descriptions of God toward the beginning of the prayers, it says that God does Gemilut Hasidim is the Hebrew. it does acts of kindness. God does acts of kindness. And the next line in the description of God, right after when it says God does acts of kindness, it says that God owns everything. So it's God does acts of kindness, God owns everything. So if you think about it, you could really ask a question on that. Because when God does acts of kindness, God is giving things to God's creation, giving things away to God's creation, bestowing things. So usually when we think of ourselves giving things to others, well, if we give it, then it's not ours anymore. We gave it to somebody else. I have a piece of paper. I'm giving it to you. Well, if I'm giving it to you, it's not mine anymore. So, how can God give these acts of kindness and still own everything? So, I think that if we can solve that puzzle, then we can unlock what it means to expand your borders, which is that line in Jabetz's prayer. So, let's say that somebody is going to take some money and they are going to buy some stock for the first time in a company that they just heard about. They never bought stock in that company before. So they're going to take that money and they're going to buy the stock, and that money goes to the company. And now they have stock. This person now has stock in the company. So what does that mean? So that person gave something to that company, gave money, and now he owns part of that company. He owns stock. Even if it's just one stock, he owns a little bit of that company. So there's a very this worldly example of how you can give something, and therefore by giving you can own something. Let's say you give charity to somebody and that improves their lives. Then that improvement in their life is partially due to you. You now have a part in their life, and that part, in a sense, is yours. You bought it in a sense but without really buying it. You were just doing an act of kindness. So something that was not yours before, after your act of loving kindness, whatever that was, is now partially yours. Even if you just smiled at someone who looked sad and that made them feel better, made them feel happier, then you affected the course of their day. Who knows what that could have led to? So now you own some shares, so to speak, in their life. So we see in this prayer that where God is giving and therefore owning. So in that same description of God, as it continues, do we see an example that not only God gives, but also some of God's creatures gives, like humans like us. Do we see in the prayer that same prayer where some people are also giving? So, right after the part of the description of God where it says that, first it says God does acts of kindness, then it says God owns everything, then it says God remembers the kindness of the forefathers, meaning the forefathers of the Jewish people, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. God remembers their kindnesses, and God will bring redemption to their descendants, which is the Jewish people today and all throughout, for the sake of his name, for the sake of God's name in love. So God is bringing redemption to the Jewish people because it expresses his love for the forefathers and for their acts of kindness. So when the forefathers did and the foremothers did acts of kindness, they were in a sense all the different things throughout history leading up to the final redemption, which has not happened yet, but all the things that will lead up to it, they have a part in. They sort of own a bit of that because of the kindnesses they did. In fact, they own a lot of it because it says God remembers the kindnesses of the forefathers and will bring redemption to their descendants for the sake of his name and love, because he loves so much that they did acts of kindness. He's going to redeem their people, the Jewish people, and therefore the world, because of his love, the fact that they did those acts of kindness. So the forefathers, the Avot, have a huge, huge, huge share, many shares. In fact, they probably own the company, many shares in the final redemption because of their acts of kindness that they did almost 4,000 years ago. So their acts of kindness really carried forward. It really carries through time. And it's not forgotten because it doesn't say that God remembered in the past with an ED at the end. I mean, I'm translating into English now. It says that God remembers in the present tense. God is always remembering the acts of kindness of the forefathers 4,000 years ago. And be out of his love for that is going to bring the redemption to the Jewish people and therefore to the world because of those acts of love. So you never know when you do an act of kindness what kind of effect that can have in the world and what that can lead to. So when one says expand your borders, one could think that it could mean that whatever you've done to improve something in the world, to improve somebody's life in the world, whatever kindnesses you have done, you have partial ownership in all of those areas. And therefore, your borders can be expanded more beyond just you, your body, your house, your immediate possessions. But you can't even remember all the things that you may have given to, all the good things you may have done, and how far your borders could really be expanded. So we are going to do a meditation to try to get in touch with some of that. And you're just going to go along with this guided meditation and we'll see what happens. So first, I want you to get in your meditative positions by sitting in a chair with your feet flat on the floor and your back straight but not stiff. Your hands on your lap, relaxed, and your neck aligned with your back. It should be straight but not stiff. Just don't slump, but keep yourself straight but relaxed. And close your eyes and feel comfortable and relaxed. And just follow along and try to get in touch with the things that I am suggesting. And we'll do it nice and slow so you'll have time to get in touch with all of these things. So first, we're just to relax. We're going to become aware of our relaxed breath. And you're going to sense and experience the rhythm of your relaxed breath with your inhale and your exhale. And we'll just do that to relax for a few breaths. Now, I want you to bring to mind, in your mind's eye, someone who you have given something to, something that was a positive act of giving, someone that lives in close proximity to you. It could be they live in your house, your neighborhood, or it could be a close relative and they live in close proximity to you in that way because they're part of your family. And just picture them in your mind. And think of the circumstance that caused you to give whatever you gave. What led to that? Did they ask for something? Did you perceive a need that they had? Was it a birthday? What was it? And picture yourself actually giving it to them in the way you gave it. Maybe you mailed it, maybe you handed it to them. Just picture that, experience that in your mind. And then think of how this may have affected their lives. What kind of effect did it have? Did it enable them to do something that they couldn't have done otherwise? Did it give them a new idea that you gave them an idea and that's what you gave them and they were able to think of something else? Did you give them a compliment and they felt good? What did you give them? How did it affect them? And how do you feel about that act of giving that you did? How do you feel about it? Are you glad that you did it? Does it make you feel good? Are you happy about their reaction? Just whatever happened, just bring it to mind and how you feel about it. And now I want you to see yourself as part of that positive effect. Just include yourself in their reaction and whatever effect it had on them. Put yourself right there, standing or sitting or whatever, right next to it. Now we're going to bring to mind someone that you have given to that is a little bit further in some ways, either lives further from the first person you gave to that you brought to mind. Maybe they live further away in another city. Maybe they live in another country. Maybe they're not in your family. It's someone that you just met, so they're not close to you in that way. Or maybe they're from another community, like you knew them, but they're from another community, so they're further from you in that respect. So bring that person to mind that's more distant to you in whatever way from the first person that you gave to. So I'll give you a minute to think of someone and what you gave to them. Doesn't have to be a physical object. Sometimes we just give to people on social media. We give a like or a love on a response to social media, but it shows we read their comment or whatever they had to say. That's giving to them. So think of what you gave to that person, whatever it was, and why you gave it to them. Something positive. We're only doing positive. And who this person is. And experience yourself doing that act of giving. Sort of relive it. And think of how that may have affected their lives, that whatever you gave them, how that may have affected their lives. Even if you don't really know how it affected their lives, you can imagine how it would have affected their lives or how you would have wanted it to affect their lives. And imagine yourself, see yourself as part of that positive effect, and see yourself as owning that little part of that person's life, having a part in their life that you have a share in because of what you gave to them. You have a share, no matter how big, no matter how small, in that person's life because you gave whatever to them. And how do you feel about having done that? How does it make you feel? And I want you to bring a third person to mind, someone that you have given to. Doesn't, it can be recently, it can be a long time ago. It can be someone that's perhaps not even living anymore, gone on to the next world. It could be someone very much in this world. Someone, even if you can think of someone even further away, either geographically or in a real foreign country or further away in some aspect. Someone that maybe you didn't expect you would ever give to. It would be a surprise to you, but yet you did. And think of the circumstances of that caused you to give to them, why you gave to them, what was the reason. Experience yourself doing that act of giving, relive it. Think of how it may have affected their lives or how you would have wanted it to affect their lives if you don't know, in fact, how it did. See yourself as having a share in that positive effect on their lives because of your act of giving. And how do you feel about having done that positive act of giving and having that positive effect on their lives, even if you don't know exactly what that was? Just the fact that you tried to have a positive effect. And having thought of those three instances, where you have given something positive to different people and affected their lives in positive ways. How does that make you feel? Having thought about that, how does that make you feel just sitting here in whatever room you're sitting in, whatever chair you're sitting in? Can you feel a certain expansion in who you are? Can you feel a certain spiritual expansion? As if whatever boundaries you have in terms of whatever makes you you, that they're broader than you may have thought, that they feel broader, they feel more expansive because of your acts of giving to others, wherever those people may be. And if you think about all the countless times you've given to others in your life, you probably couldn't even count them. Just think how far and abundant your reach is into this world. So when you're ready, you can slowly open your eyes. And come back to the room where you're sitting, feeling refreshed and awake and expanded. Dan, let me know if anyone has any questions that you can see. Okay, that's good. Hi, Mom. So what was your experience, Dan? Were you meditating along with this? That's not
I
how you
find,
meditate, Dan.
of course not, of course not. I got a lot on a computer screen at once, and yeah, it does take me away. But I find, especially this time of year, there's lots of pressure for giving, and I really like the way that you're causing people to think about what actions they're doing, and to make sure that they're being effective in this world in kindness. I mean, because there's just so many charities or so many people out there looking to have needs met that it's overwhelming, and we cannot do everything individually, and we try our best to be effective in what we're doing. And giving is sometimes overwhelming from some sources, and I've really struggled a lot of late because I find that, I think that giving has got to, in order to be kind, kindness has to remain the free will gift of the giver. But there's so many exploitives out there today with their hand out, and you can't physically support everybody. It's just not possible, and so find yourself being torn in several directions. And I find the undue pressure that comes from exploitive behavior vexing at times. But you always want to give joyfully wherever you're given or when you're given. But yeah, I still find this time of year there seems to be more activity with requests, and it gets overwhelming at times, and have to let wisdom guide our giving and not emotion. So I don't know what else to say on that, but
Well, that's why I gave some examples of giving which aren't monetary.
oh yeah,
Like
even
giving
support.
somebody a compliment, smiling at somebody, giving somebody a helping hand in a chore, not necessarily having to buy something or spend money. Because I know, like today was Giving Tuesday, actually. I think in all of Canada, right? Or was it just Toronto? There's something
I
called
didn't.
Giving Tuesday where a lot of charities reach out, or they sent their entire email list on Giving Tuesday and asked for, asked for people to donate.
Support. Yeah, they ask for donations. Sure.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I don't know if you have Giving Tuesday in British Columbia or Alberta, but anyway, we do here. So yeah, it can be overwhelming. So you have to you have to know your causes and who and how much you can
Yeah.
afford to give if it's monetary. But we were thinking about it just in other terms, in terms of when this Jabez said to God, bless me, which really means make me increased in some way. A blessing increases something. And expand my borders, what does that really mean? So we were just taking the meditation to show that giving can, in whatever way, even just with a kind word, can be expanding your borders because you're affecting someone's life, and
In a
therefore you
positive
have a
way.
share in their life, and you're expanding your reach, you're expanding your borders.
Yes, even the simplest gesture can sometimes uplift somebody's day for sure.
Right, right. So we're going to do another meditation where we're going to reverse it, and we are going to think of the things that we have received from other people. So I'm going to guide the next meditation. And let me get my notes back up. So people should get in their meditative positions again by sitting in your chair, having your feet on the floor, your back's nice and straight but not stiff. Your neck straight, aligned with your back, but not stiff. Your face relaxed, and close your eyes. And now we're going to bring to mind someone close by that you've received something from. Does not have to be anything physical. It can be, but it can be you received a nice, kind word from them, a compliment, an idea, an offer of help, just a listening ear to what you wanted to say to get something off your chest, and they were listening to you. They gave you time, or it could have been a physical gift. Received something from, and imagine that person's face in your mind. And think about what you received from them and what caused them to give it to you. What were the circumstances? And are they now part of your life in some way, even if it's just a small way? Do you remember them and what they did? Are you grateful to them? Have you allowed them to become part of your life in some even small way? Can you experience the positive way that whatever they gave you affected you? How it improved your life in some way, even if it's a small way? Can you experience that? And in your mind, say thank you to them. And now bring someone else to mind. Picture their face that you have received something from, something positive, that they perform some kind of act of loving kindness to you, no matter how big, no matter how small. Think of what that thing was that they gave you and how it affected your life in a positive way. Experience how whatever it was affected your life in a positive way, even if it was just momentary. Try to really bring it to mind, make it real. And how did that make you feel? And did you let that person into your life, even if it's just momentary, because you don't really know them? But for a moment, did you let them into your life? And do you see them as part of a positive effect on you? And say thank you to them in your mind. Feel grateful to them. And now we're going to think of a third person that you're going to bring to mind who gave something positive to you, performed an act of loving kindness for you, no matter how large, no matter how small. And think of something they gave, think of whatever it was that they gave to you. And how it affected your life in a positive way. And did you let them into your life more than before because of that act of loving kindness that they performed, that they gave to you? And allow yourself to feel grateful to them. Think of them and what they gave you and how it affected your life. And therefore, you can feel grateful to them, that that emotion come up. And experience the positive effect that whatever they gave you is had and is having on your life. And think of all the countless times in your life that you have received good things from other people, no matter how big, no matter how small. Countless times that you couldn't even remember them all. And how that also expands your borders, expands your reach because you will have the capacity to receive from so many different places, from so many different people, from so many different parts of the world. So you're like a bowl that can hold more, a big bowl that can hold more. So not only can you reach by giving, but you can also expand by receiving. And just experience how much you are impacted and reached into the world way beyond you, and how much you're receiving from the world way beyond you. And your borders are very, very broad. And when you're ready, you can slowly open your eyes and come back to the room where you're sitting. So it could be that when Jabez cried out to God and asked God to bless him and to enlarge his territory or expand his borders, that God did that by giving Jabez the power to give and the power to receive, just like God gives all of us the power to give and the power to receive, and therefore expands all of our borders. I can't hear you, Dan. I can't hear you. Are you talking to me? Dan? I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Yeah, now I can hear you.
Since I've switched to Windows 11, my drivers are odd. They're not functioning or auto booting. Anyways, and so my microphone's attached to a soundboard to my computer, running through Adobe software, and when the driver glitches, it just, I don't have complete control of it. I updated some software, and it's a pain in the butt, so I deleted it, and occasionally it cuts out on me, and I have to shut my microphone right off, shut my software down, and then relaunch it in order for it to come through. But I don't know when it cut out, but it cut out. Sometimes I get a notification, and sometimes I don't, and making it more difficult. But I'm probably running out of space on my hard drive. But I do what I can. I haven't had an interruption in the stream. The stream's been going okay. Looks like I dropped a couple of frames, but it's been streaming fine. You've had a couple comments from, it looks like Toshi. I think Toshi's in the Orient, and from my mother, she said thank you. You got a couple thank yous out there. Yeah, excellent. Especially much needed this time of the year. I mean, the prayer of Jabez is profound, and I appreciate you expanding on that for us. Let your hand be with me and keep me from harm, so that I'll be free from pain. Yeah, some of these English translations are not. You don't get the whole thing unless you're hearing it from the Hebrew sources. So
Yeah, you really need the Hebrew. But I just took one line of it, the line that intrigued me the most, that I thought had the most to do with meditation, which is expanding, spiritual
yeah,
expansion.
for sure, for sure. And yeah, I
I
always
know
have.
that when I think of the different times, when I bring to mind different times that I've given, I feel very different. I feel something unusual envelop me when I think of that. I feel like a spiritual realm sort of surrounding me. And so that's why one of the reasons I picked to do this meditation tonight, because of the effect that I feel that it has on me. So I thought maybe it would have that effect on others.
Well, we appreciate it. It's excellent. Personally, I have difficulty with emotions, but yeah, I suffered a traumatic brain injury when I was 18 years old, and yeah, I have residual effects from it, and yeah, I have diffs, so I do the best I can, and Hashem's been good, kept me around for something and a reason, and I'm finding.
Well, you're certainly a person that gives a lot anyway.
I am overjoyed to be able to share such wonderful teachings from some wonderful Jewish sources. To me,
well, if you're overjoyed, that's an emotion, Dan.
I understand it is, but yes, for me, the connecting it to emotions or being emotive is difficult, and I do well in security because I can be stone faced and yeah, do my job no problem. But there are at times, especially when it's deep emotion, yeah, I have difficulties. But I try to understand, and this is why I'm so thankful for Torah and the depth thereof, and hearing it from legitimate Jewish sources. It literally helps me to understand and be able to at least appreciate emotion on a level I am not physically capable of in some respects.
You mean this brain injury affected the part of your brain having to do with emotion?
Oh yeah, like if I shave my head, I've got an 8-inch scar on my left ventromedial prefrontal cortex region. Yeah, so I fell 200. I fell 240 feet down a canyon when I was 18.
Oh, is that time? That was that time you told us about.
Yeah,
Same
yeah,
time.
I was I was rescued, and as far as I'm concerned, God kept me and lived my life, tried to turn towards Him despite many challenges, and for me, I would say I'm more thick-headed and have to learn things the hard way, and nonetheless, when it comes to emotion, I've had to grow and accept my limitations, and yeah, it's just me being me, but I am who Hashem made me to be, and it doesn't work for a lot of people, but we work with the tools we have and try to serve God with what we got, and you can't go wrong with the way you explained it tonight. Being willing to give and receive, and yeah, especially as a male, it's sometimes even more difficult to accept than give, and some males have too much ego. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I got May on Facebook, couldn't hear me. Yeah, when my microphone clicked out. Yeah, well, it's just technical difficulties beyond my control, and it glitches from time to time, and I do what I can to make it work. And
Well, technology is not perfect. Well, anyway,
no,
thanks so much, Dan. I really appreciate your help as always in broadcasting all this.
well, thank you, Hashi. It's a joy for me. These classes are phenomenal impact as far as focus. I find myself meditating more often during the day, and more than that, tapping into things that are for personal growth, and it's very useful. And I am thankful to Hashem for you taking the time out of your very busy schedule to deal with the frustrations of the computer tech, and still share a message that is useful. I know the few people out here have appreciated it, and yeah. So until next time, shall we sign off?
Okay.
All right, everybody. Till next time, have a wonderful, wonderful week. Bye for now.
Okay.